The Cedars restaurant in Newcastle wants you to indulge in the food from their pleasing menu. The Cedars features Mediterranean, pub food, Middle Eastern cuisine, and so much more. They're open every day 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Call the Cedars on the east side at 827 Addis Street, Newcastle. 724-658-9543. That's 724-658-9543.
This program furnished by Sporting Goods, 23 East Washington Street, Newcastle. Call 724-658-2535.
Hi, pizza friends. You can still find delicious Augustine's Pizza at your local supermarket. The folks at Augustine's Pizza hope that their pizza is always your first choice for any and all occasions.
Very pleasant welcome to the
It was a really fun bowl season, except if you're a TCU Horned Frog. Actually, you know what? No, they made it there. They should be happy. I'm not saying they shouldn't have expected to win or put up a better fight, but let's be honest. You know, in the world of college football, it's top-heavy dominated, and for a smaller school like TCU to get to the national championship, I mean, think about it. It was in 2012 when they were just applying to get into the Big East. You know, they never would have thought of this.
Well, here's my thing on it, and this is straight out of the Notre Dame type thing. And I gotta admit, I saw this posted. And in essence, and I'm gonna summarize, some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. And Notre Dame lost to Alabama, and it looked bad. TCU lost to Georgia, it looked bad. And that's just what it is.
I mean, again, I still maintain that if you're a TCU Horned Frog fan, you know, you should feel proud and blessed. Now, as far as local colleges, our Pitt Panthers, considering everything we've talked about over the past couple years, I remember we were doing the shows and both you and I were questioning about Narduzzi. And, you know, fast forward, you know, last year won a ACC championship, and this year finished in the top 25, 9 wins, and started the season with winning the backyard brawl. I'm pleased.
Now, let me give you some further good news.
Okay.
It was the 28th, 29th, and then the 30th that morning. I was having coffee. And I told the friends that I was having coffee that day. Today's the day you take Pitt basketball, and there was a win. Pitt football, and there was a win. And Notre Dame football, Great Gator, it was a sweep.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you did well with you did perfect with your predictions. It was very, yeah. If you're a Pitt fan, you don't expect to beat top 25, you know, North Carolina and win, you know, your bowl game. Against number 18 UCLA, who finished ahead of Pitt by one spot in the final rankings at 21, and Pitt was 22. I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. I'm just kind of like, I'm okay, you know. But
well, here I'm going local. I'm saying, what an outstanding day! I called it. I felt, you know, that Pitt had a very good season. I felt that Notre Dame turned it around.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of turnarounds locally. The turnarounds of 2022 are only going to be a springboard in 2023. And if you reasonably look, the Irish turned it around. The Panthers turned it around. The Steelers turned it around. And in the beginning of the basketball season, the Duquesne Dukes turned it around. They're 13-5 as we sit here and speak. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about college basketball. But first, we better take a timeout.
Now, word from our sponsors.
The Crane Room for your lunch and dinner rendezvous. You'll enjoy their pleasant atmosphere. The Crane Room takes pride in their wide variety menu. Appetizers, sandwiches, soups, salads, entrees, pasta, and the best burgers in town. Newcastle's best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers from around the world, and the Crane Room features a 35-tap draft system. Ask about their daily specials that will please you every time. The Crane Room is located at 3009 Wilmington Road in Neshannock Township. Call 724-656-1553.
If you're hungry, don't be out in the desert. Head on down to the old Oasis for breakfast. If you're hungry, don't be out in the desert. Head on down to the old Oasis for daily specials. Yes, appetizers, sandwiches, beverages. It's the Oasis Bar, 303 South Jefferson Street. Call 724-652-6104. Well, we are back, and it looks like I have the right buttons pressed. We were talking on break about the Damar Hamlin story, and again, I was having coffee. It had just happened the night before, and we have coffee very, very early, and one of my buddies said, well, this happened before. Mm-hmm. It was like, when? 1971, the Detroit Lions playing the Green Bay Packers. I believe the guy's name was Taylor, went out for a pass and caught it. There was no hit, and I didn't really consider the Damar Hamlin hit a hard hit. It was a hit.
Seemed to be the basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was the hit, and the guy kind of shrugged off the tackle and ran out of bounds and was walking back to the huddle when all of a sudden he collapsed. The very incident happened. They rushed him to the hospital. He died, but they did finish the game. The question, should they have finished the game? I'm like, I understand why they didn't. I'm not making a big deal that they should have finished it. They should have not finished it. I'm just saying, erring on the side of caution wasn't bad.
Well, I think what a lot of people who share your viewpoint, I think, fail to realize is also the state of the players on the field. I mean, the players were visibly distraught, crying. I mean, they're thinking they witnessed the death. I mean, Damar Hamlin had to have CPR for 9 minutes. I mean, geez, oh man. So, but I tell you what, kudos to that medical staff. I was watching footage of it again, and it ran out there fast, kept their composure, and it was such a very bizarre thing. Hamlin stands up, takes a step forward, and then just collapses. And a lot of people immediately thinking like, oh, something with his head, or no one's thinking heart attack, and then you hear the announcer say that Hamlin was receiving CPR for 9 minutes. It's like, wow. I mean, it was very disturbing to see.
And to that point, I'm not saying they made a right decision or a wrong decision. I think the decision was a good decision, because now imagine yourself into the future if Damar plays. When he has the ball, are you concerned how hard you hit him? Are you, what's the psychology if you're Damar? Are you worried about that next hit? There's a lot of psychology, if you would, just post hit.
Well, if I'm correct, I think I know Damar's medical doctors had a press conference a couple days after, and I think I might be wrong about this. I could have sworn they said something about his outlook is to get to where he was before football. So I kind of took that as he's not going to be playing football anymore.
And that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Should football be banned?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it's...
No. Football should not be banned. Football teaches many, many positive things. Are there times when stuff happens? He could have been walking down the steps and fell and had the same exact result.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a freak accident, and what was it?
I wouldn't even call it an accident.
Or not accident. It was a freak occurrence. It was a fluke. It was a real, that just doesn't happen barely ever. So I mean, the bottom line is I'm very happy for him and his family. I mean, Damar Hamlin, local kid.
Yeah. And
anyone who knows him say, he's a stand-up guy. So, I mean, obviously you don't want that to happen to anybody, even if they didn't go to, Pitt or whatever, but it's, I remember them showing the footage of him hugging his mother before the game, and just imagine being that mother.
Yeah.
Watch it. Like, what do you do? Like, is the mother, like, I think of my mom, I think she'd be, like, climbing over the stands or trying to run to the field to get to me, so I just felt really, bad, but, I'm thankful he's all right.
Well, the second comeback in a very short span of time for Pitt, because he was a Pitt player and really a stand-up type of time for kind of our area. Buffalo, not far away.
There's a lot of unity. I felt like with social media, anything, I felt like the whole country was just pulling for this dude, and I was seeing tweets from the West Virginia football Twitter account wishing him obviously classy, and it's just like, wow, it was nice to see everybody unified for once, and that's all I can really say.
Well, let's take this break, and we'll be back with a wrap right after this. If you're hungry, don't be out.
Entrusting your loved one to a funeral director is a very personal and emotional decision. The funeral director you choose must understand the importance of the decision you have made. When you call the William and Roger DeCarbo Funeral Home, I recognize what a privilege it is to be chosen at your time of need. We will provide you and your family with the best service possible, with sincerity and compassion.
The William and Roger DeCarbo Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1941.
Come dine with us, come dine today. If you could use some real good food, there's a place not far away. If you could use a drink or two, or a place to go and play, come to Gallows Italian Villa today.
And welcome back to the Cedar Sports Corner, everybody, for our third and final segment.
And let me tell you, sometimes it fools you because we're in a brand new setup here.
It's a nice setup. It's a very nice setup. I like it a lot. And I'll tell you, well, we were talking about, comebacks earlier in the show, and I think people might have gotten a little premature with the whole Pitt basketball made a comeback. Their Pitt basketball is back, baby. Because they had a great win against North Carolina and Virginia. After, now they lost to Clemson. The game after that by 1 point, the game where they were winning. That was a heartbreaker, and then they lost just recently to Duke in a game they were up by 12. But I'm not saying Pitt basketball's not back, but I am saying it is very awesome to see that Pitt basketball, was playing in meaningful games, close games. I hope it stays. I don't know if they're gonna make the tournament or no. I still do. I think they're gonna make the tournament. Hope I'm wrong, obviously. I don't know. I still would be happy with, above 500. I guess I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse yet because, I know they won those 2 games in a row. Sometimes teams are playing hot, but we'll see. I need a bigger sample size, and now we're getting deeper into the ACC play. They won their first 4 ACC games, which is huge, but, we'll see what happens. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, here's a couple things. Number one, and I really learned this in the bowl games. Because of COVID, there is a lot of old, and I said this in another matter, but there is a lot of older individuals playing basketball. They're graduate students, 25, 24, 26 years old. And that makes a difference. Number two, it was a rocket start. The basketball season doesn't seem to be the same as it was 10, 20 years ago, where you have a different mix and a different warm-up schedule. You're almost more under the heat today than you were then. I think as far as Pitt goes, I think a strong ACC tournament and a possibility of getting into the NIT would be very well received for Pitt.
Oh, especially since, last time Pitt basketball had, was it 2016? It was when Dixon left, I think, is when, they had a good season, and it's just, they've been...
Well, now, here, think of this a second. As, and I'm going to ask what's better. The Dukes are 13-5. And they're really doing well. They just beat St. Joe's. Things look great. And I'm going to throw Notre Dame into the mix too. They got off like Pitt to a rocket start, and now the most winningest coach is Gray in basketball for Notre Dame. So the question has to be, are you better with a low seed NCAA win or a higher seed and going into the NIT?
For Notre Dame, or in general,
In general.
a higher. So if you're if you're higher seed and you lose early, is it more meaningful to, like, if you make a, like, take that compared to going farther in
NIT
NIT?
Final Four, NCAA.
Sir, I think it's circumstantial. Depend on the program, the state of that program. Pitt, I still think if I'm Pitt, I'd rather make the tournament compared to winning the NIT championship. But again, let's say if Pitt was to win the NIT championship and miss the tournament, I'm still going to be very encouraged. Now, if this was the Jamie Dixon era, where was it 2009 to 2007 to 2011, that they're getting number 1 seeds, winning the Big East conference tournament, obviously different story. But the state Pitt's in right now. I still think I would go with the NCAA tournament.
I'm a little anything strong. You need 2 wins in the NCAA to equal a Final Four in the NIT. That's just where I feel. But you know what? We better wrap it up.
Any final thoughts?
Duquesne, keep doing what you're doing.
And me, like I said, I'm just happy we can watch meaningful, exciting Pitt basketball games.
Hey, have a great season, and we'll be back at you anytime on your time. It's NCTV45. Have a great day, everyone.